in the fight to free the country from the clutches of corruption. A nation joins the chorus. And as the 74-year-old crusader walked out of incarceration after 3 days, a nation erupted in unparalleled support.
Anna Hazare represents the voice of the common man who is oppressed, suppressed and depressed by the corruption that he sees in life around him. This voice has not found an utterance for a long time. And when there is a cauldron of seething resentment, all it takes is one match to set that explosive mixture into a major explosion. Therefore, Anna Hazare represents the hopes of not only India, but especially young India.
Success or defeat, I think is a question of perspective in a movement like this. I think to a certain extent they have already succeeded, regardless of what will happen from now on. The fact that they have established a principle that the government is accountable to people not only at time of elections, but even otherwise, and that there is an instrument that citizens have to influence the government without having necessarily to wait for elections. And if, for instance, they don't have a choice which is worthwhile among the candidates, then it is possible for them to be heard directly. I think just the establishment of that principle, I think, is an achievement. But I think the issue of corruption has been put squarely on the table, and certainly in the short term, I think it will be very difficult for any political party to escape that entirely. So if they are able to keep the momentum going, and if they show a certain amount of flexibility and a desire to arrive at a solution, perhaps we could move forward and come up with a Lokpal bill which is reasonable, which avoids some of the pitfalls that can happen in a bill like this, but which takes us forward.
In a vibrant democracy, people must become active participants, not passive recipients of government policy. The anti-corruption movement led by Anna Hazare and his team have given people the opportunity to set the agenda, to tell the government that this is a priority for us and you must deal with it immediately. I think that has led to an overwhelming sense of the ability to participate, of civil society recognizing its great strength. I think the anti-corruption movement is an idea whose time has come, and that is the reason we see this unprecedented fervor. But it is also the time to pause, to remove some of the gladiator kind of response that we have. We've got them where it hurts the most, and make the way for a nuanced, sane debate, so that after all the commotion dies down, we actually come forward having moved 2 steps forward towards this fight against anti-corruption.
Government is feeling pressurized, and Lokpal bill has been introduced in the parliament and everyone wants to support it now. Opposition parties are also talking about Lokpal bill. They want to make it a more effective Lokpal. If it gets passed, if it is an effective Lokpal bill, it will be good for the Indian democracy. But one has to also take into account the larger structure of Indian constitution, Indian parliamentary democracy. Within that, it has to function. And of course, pressures do work, and it would be a valuable addition to Indian political system.
The country is going through a very pressure cooker-like situation right now, where every single human being that lives in this country today has to cope, tackle and deal with corruption at some level or another. On top of that, having to face daily corruption from municipalities, from policemen, from the government as a whole, from even private people for that matter, the people have finally lost it, because there was scam after scam after scam. And when this bill for the Lokpal bill, which has been hanging for 40 years in Parliament and has not actually seen a realization or come through, you realize as an Indian and as a common person that nobody has the political will to do it. You also find the logic for that, which is that if all politicians are more or less in some manner tainted with the business of corruption, why would they pass a bill that is going to hang them? So the public at large has got completely disillusioned with the business of politicians actually trying to pass a bill on corruption which affects them more than it affects anybody else.
I think Anna's strength lies in the fact that he represents, somebody who's an outsider to politics, not just to politics, but to the current way of life. So he stands outside the whole question of, the debates that are happening around the economy. He stands outside the kind of politics that is being practiced today. And so he represents to the middle class the idea of something pure, something that is slipping away from our grasp. And something that they do not encounter in their everyday lives. And in the light of the cynicism and the sense that everything around that you see around you is getting corrupted and is kind of disintegrating, it's not as if people know Anna Hazare. It's actually not as if people even particularly have heard of him before. They haven't really read him, or they've not even heard his speeches, in fact. It's the idea of Anna Hazare that they are buying. He looks like somebody that they can follow. He looks like somebody who, represents a break from everything else that they see around them. And I think that is the core of his strength.
The common man identifies with Anna Hazare because Anna Hazare has nothing to gain from it personally. His bank account is not going to get fatter. He's not seeking elective office. He's representing an anger of aspirational India that wants an expression, that wants to say enough is enough. We are tired of ministers that take offices and treat it as an occasion to loot, or officers who treat their posts as places where they can make money. There are a number of honest officers, a number of honest ministers, but we've seen in scam after scam how this power has been abused and people want a place to turn to. Anna Hazare is that person representing the Jan Lokpal Bill, which should be supported fully.
I do know that people do not know what the Lokpal Bill is largely. Not many of them have read it. Not many of them know the difference between the government's very watered down, tame version and what Anna Hazare and his gang and his team have put up. But it is extremely important that there is an entire view which is neither on one side or the other, very sane voices in civil society that have their reservations and also have their suggestions, all of which need to be included to have consensus on an issue which will have far-reaching consequences for our democracy.
When Anna Hazare came up with this whole business of an anti-corruption Lokpal bill, it wasn't the Lokpal bill. I don't think even too many people bothered about what were the issues that were contentious which the government didn't want in the Lokpal bill. I think what really symbolized the whole thing and catharticized the whole thing was Anna Hazare himself, a little man from Maharashtra who very few people knew about 6 months ago, who suddenly came up and said, I have no agenda except one agenda, which is that we must have the will to tackle corruption. And I found that found a tremendous echo and found a tremendous empathy in everybody in this country. Everybody lives, north, south, east, west, it doesn't matter who.
I feel this movement for the Jan Lokpal Bill will continue until we have an effective Jan Lokpal Bill. There can be changes, there can be adjustments, but at the end of the day, there must be a mechanism where a common man can turn for help and go to an agency which will promise him justice and promise him equality in the fight against corruption so that he can overcome the people that are oppressing him. This will not stop till there is an effective Jan Lokpal Bill. That will be Anna Hazare's triumph, and it will be the triumph of every right-thinking person in India who wants a better future for India.
I will be deeply disappointed if this fervor dies down. I really do hope that having seen that the youth of this country is really willing to participate and taking responsibility, the leadership understands the importance of this and provides the kind of leadership that can lead to a healthy, vibrant, wonderful India.